So I want to talk about what every man must confess. And I'm going to mention three things. And the last one is the one I really want to focus on. And I think it's the one that we oftentimes most miss out in talking about. But the first thing a man must confess is the deepest and worst thing that ever happened to him. Sometimes a man can live in a mindset of frustration and anger. He doesn't even recognize it or know why. A man needs to confess the worst thing that ever happened to him. Because if he's not able to just say it, it kind of lives on the inside of him. It becomes a chip on his shoulder. Maybe it's the relationship in his life that most hurt him and robbed him of being a dreamer. And now he's just a frustrated man. A man needs to be able to say out of his mouth, this happened to me. I did this and this person did this to me. Second thing a man must be able to confess is the worst thing he ever did to someone else. Most men, deep down, all we want to do is make a positive contribution with our life. We want to be a positive impact on the people in our life. But when we feel like we did something that's the opposite of that, that can erode away at a man for a long, long time. The reality is every man, intentionally or unintentionally, at some point does something that brings harm to somebody else. The man must be able to confess and confide in someone that he trusts. You know, I did this thing and I hate that I did it. He doesn't have to talk about it forever, but he must confess it at least once. But here's the third thing I want to focus on, because oftentimes it doesn't get any attention. But I want to encourage every man. A man must be able to confess the thing he's afraid of. A man must be able to confess and say, you know, I feel like there's this thing in my life that I should be pursuing, and I'm afraid to pursue it. I have this dream, I never talk about it. I have this thing that I know I could accomplish and overcome, but I'm afraid to even talk about it. A man needs to be able to confess the dreams of his heart. And it's scary because once you say it out of your mouth, you kind of put yourself out there. What if you fail? What if someone thinks you're dumb? What if someone thinks you can't do it? You put yourself out there. And so what we end up doing is we let dreams die on the inside of us. When you confess them, you bring them to life. So that's the third thing I want to encourage any man. Confess what you should be pursuing. Confess the dream in your heart. Confess this goal that you feel like you should be chasing, and be willing to talk about what's causing you to not pursue it. Be willing to just say it out of your mouth. You don't need the other person to fix you. You don't need the other person to solve you, but confessing it can be a pathway forward to being the man you were made to be.